Hey guys, thanks for signing up for AP Physics. I could talk to you guys about how cool my class is, or how awesome it's going to be next year, or how ridiculously hard it's going to be. But that would probably be really boring and rather egotistical of me. So instead of me talking to you guys, I'm going to have my former students talk to you guys. So what you're going to find out is some tips and tricks that you really need to take to heart. Because once September rolls around, it's go time.
What I learned in AP Physics was...
Look at me. I'm an average physics student. Look at this. It's your textbook. It's essential. Use it often. Look at this hat. Van de Graaff, go.
So Maya, what is the purpose of these whiteboard problems?
Well, they help you review the concepts you learn in class, and it sees how well you know the equations, and if you can plug them in to find the solution to a problem.
Okay. And what problem do you have here on this whiteboard?
Well, this is calculating the de Broglie wavelength of a person who is running at 37 meters per second. So you just find the momentum and divide Planck's constant by that, and that's your wavelength.
Alright. And how are these whiteboard problems useful?
Well, like I said, they're for review and practice, so it gets the concept right.
And how are they run?
Well, Trine will give you a problem. You usually put it up on the projector, or he'll just tell you. And you write down the known constants and your equations, and you get 5 or 10 minutes to figure out the answer. And then he goes around and looks at your answer and sees how you did.
And how important is it to pay attention in class?
Well, it's very important because in class, that's where he explains it. And if you try to use your book, it won't work because the book is very difficult to understand. There's a lot of equations and lots of problems. It's much more complicated than what you learn in class. And it's kind of hard to find what you need to know in the book.
Physics, I don't like physics. This is like the worst day of my life. Physics.
Check your attitude at the door, please.
I'll take that. Thank you. Taking notes is always important. As Albert Einstein, one of the greatest physicists and scientists in the entire history of the world, I find it important that taking notes is very important. You see, when you take notes, you write down material that's really vital to your learning because it helps you, number one, visualize what you're learning right here in front of your paper, and two, gives you something to study when you get home at night. Now, physics is very important, so that's why you need to write down your notes. These notes will help you get through to the AP exam because when you go back over them, it helps refresh your mind instead of having to read a really long book again. This just puts down some of the important notes that you need to be successful in physics class. And in some of those notes, you should include the important equations. Now, what equations might those be? Well, they would include Newtonian mechanics, such as the big three kinematic equations, but you'll learn those later on. Some things, including electricity and magnetism. You might even need some fluid mechanics. But I'm going to say this. These equations are vital to your success. You don't need to memorize every single little equation you learn in the book. Just know the big important ones. If you know those, you're going to know your physics. Because if you know the equations and you know the concepts, then you are set to be a successful person in physics. Just like good old Albert here, who helped invent a giant bomb.
Now back to me. I have the talking stick. That's why I'm talking. Back to physics.
So how do you study for an AP test? It's important to review your notes and especially make sure you know the equations of the sections so that eventually, because all the equations will be tested at some point or another. Then you also have things like reviewing your prep book for the section so that you know it inside and out. You have things like extra problems. When and where do you like to study? Do you have any special preference? I like studying in my room, right before I go to bed, because then I have the tendency to, in a weird way, have, dreams related to it, so it's one of those you remember it easier, I guess.
So Sarah, in your opinion, what is one of the most important things, one of the most important qualities and characteristics you need to have for this class?
You have to never, ever give up. You have to keep persevering. You have to keep keeping on. You have to,
Okay, so tell me, what happens to people who do stop trying in this class?
Well, as one of our one of our students said this year, if your heart's not in it, your head's not going to be in it either. If you aren't paying attention, if you stop trying, then it's all going to go downhill. I mean, that happened to me. There was a point where I was just, I can't do this, or when I walked up to physics, I was like, oh no, physics again. But that was for the first semester, and after that, it all went uphill and it was fine. So you just got to keep going.
Okay.
Oh my God, it's not working. It's not the right answer. Let your stupid darn thing work, for God's sake! Ah!
Deal with problems, but don't drive yourself insane.
Blinkety blink, blinkety blink blink, blink blink, physics.
Hello class, I am Sir Isaac Newton, and I'm here to inform you of the importance of AP Physics prep books. The prep books are a great studying tool, and you can use them all year long, and they help immensely. This is one example of AP Physics prep books, and there are practice problems in the back and review for every subject in AP Physics.
So, Shruti, how important is homework in this class and actually completing your homework?
Homework is actually really important. A lot of times Mr. Treen does not check them, but it would not be very wise to not do the homework anyway, because the homework really helps you understand the concepts. And overall, like, even if you understand all the concepts, in the end, the AP test is going to have problems, and you need to know how to do the problems, and that's what homework helps you become good at.
So, did you notice any similarities between homework problems and AP test problems?
There were a lot of similarities, especially the ones that we did in the textbook were more similar to the problems that we found in the AP test than, let's say, the worksheets that Mr. Treen gave us. I specifically found the problems in the textbook very useful because they were a little more complex and they gave me more experience with the topic we were learning.
Okay. Now, these problems that Mr. Treen assigns you, does he assign you just a bunch of problems to do as busy work, or are they actually just a few problems that are very useful to you?
They're actually very useful. He normally assigns a few level 1 problems from the textbooks and then a few level 2, rarely any level 3 problems, but the level 2 problems are generally what you end up finding on the AP test, and so they're very useful. And since the topics themselves are not easy, it rarely ends up feeling like any busy work.
Okay.
Now look at me, I'm outside. Now I'm inside. Now I'm outside again. Now I'm coming inside for a fun-filled day of physics.
Test anxiety is a big deal, but don't worry, you'll get through it, I promise.
Okay, you guys, don't be discouraged this year because you're going to get your butts kicked. I'm going to tell you that right now if you're just watching this at the beginning of the year. You're going to get your butts kicked all around by that physics. But through your failures, you need to find your success. It's when you're in your greatest moments of just unknown and despair that you finally figure out how to circumvent problems, and you figure out not only the problems, but you also figure out who you are and how you learn and how you think. And I think even if you get a 1 on the physics test, AP physics test, you're gonna take away much more than just physics from this class. You're gonna take away how to study, how to learn, how to figure out problems that you just don't even have any idea where to start. I mean, you're gonna be set after this class. I mean, you are going to be awesome and prepared for anything you can, like any challenge that comes this way. At the beginning of the year, Mr. Treen said, like, he counted off so many people, and he said this many people are going to fail in this class, are going to get a 1 on their AP test. And I'm probably in that category, but I don't care because this class is not about the test. I mean, it's an admirable goal to get like a 3 on the test, but besides that, I mean, you can take away something besides physics. You can take away how to live and be a human.
What I learned in AP Physics is to better manage my time and that I need to not give up as easily.
What I learned in AP Physics was that the whole world is connected by physics, and that everything in the world is so interesting and can be so interestingly explained by physics. So it's an important concept and an interesting concept to learn.
What I learned in AP Physics is to be confident of yourself and believe in yourself, and it'll get you very far.
What I learned in AP Physics was that hard work and determination will get you really far.
And that's what I learned in AP Physics.
And that's what I learned in AP Physics.
And that's what I learned in AP Physics.
Guys, Mr. Tureen is a great teacher. Don't worry, you'll be fine in this class. Mr. Tureen believes in the success of all his students, so don't even worry about it.